Hello everyone, welcome back to our YouTube channel RS Agarwal official channel. My name is Rashi and I am going to teach you chemistry from class 9th and 10th. So today we are going to discuss chapter 1 from science class 9th. Okay, so we are going to discuss chapter 1 which is matter in our surroundings. Okay, so let's start by discussing what is matter. We need to understand what does this term mean. So let's start by discussing it. So everything which is present in our surrounding belongs to the category, some things belongs to the category of matter. So we need to understand, this is very important for us to understand what does matter mean. So ancient Indian philosopher divided all the matter which is present in our surroundings into 5 basic elements which we call the Panch Tattva in air, earth, fire, sky and water. What did they say? The ancient philosopher says that anything which consists of these 5 basic elements, which is fire, air, earth, sky and water, belongs to the category of matter. All the things which have these 5 elements, we say that they are matter. Okay, but that was not enough for us to understand the properties of matter. So we need to discuss the modern definition of matter, which is anything which occupies space and has mass is called a matter. Okay, so we will define it as anything which occupies a space and have some mass is matter. Okay, so suppose I am using this pen. Okay, I am using this pen to write on the board. So this pen, you can assume this is having some mass. Okay, it has some mass, and also this pen occupies this much space. Okay, in which this pen is being located, this space is consumed by this pen. So we can say that this pen belongs to the category of matter. It is a matter. Okay, so you can say, we can see some examples, okay, in which we can say this pen belongs to the category of matter. Also, if you see the board on which I am writing, I am explaining you things, this board also have some mass and occupies some space. So this board also belongs to the category of matter. So you can say our board is also belongs to the category of matter. Now see things around you. You are watching this video either on your laptop or on your phone. So your mobile phone also have some mass and occupies space. So that is also a matter. Okay, your mobile phone also belongs to the category of matter. It is also a matter. So around you, you can see various things which belongs to the category of matter. Okay, so there are this is the basic definition of matter, and we have understood what the term matter means. But there are also some things which does not belong to the category of matter. If you consider, let me discuss, if you consider your thoughts, when you are thinking about something, so thoughts, and when you are watching this video, you are seeing it through your senses. So these terms, senses, our thoughts, our vision, these doesn't belong to the category of matter because they doesn't have a mass and they do not occupy space. So these things does not belong to the category of matter. So matter are the things which occupy space and has some mass. Now in this picture you can see various examples of matter. See this hat, your pencil, skateboard, table, snow, bicycle, your apple, tree, computer. these all things belongs to the category of matter. Also the milk which you drink, your drinks, juices, soup, rain, these also belong to the category of matter. Then wind, air, hot air balloon, fog, wind from fan, these also belong to the category of matter. Why? Because they have some mass and they occupy space. That is why we are saying all these things belongs to the category of matter. Let's move on. So when we are discussing about matter, it is also important for us to discuss various properties of matter. So we are going to discuss physical nature of matter first. Okay, so firstly we are going to discuss this thing, physical nature of matter. So suppose first one is, all the matter present around us is made up of tiny particles. Whatever we are considering as a matter, they are made up of various small tiny particles. Okay, so for this you can do a simple activity at your home. Just take a beaker or you can take a glass, okay, a glass, fill it with water, okay, and then put some, you can put either salt, okay, that is easily available, or you can put sugar, okay. You can take anything from these two. Take a glass of water, put a spoonful of either salt or sugar into your glass and then stir it, okay. So when you will stir that, you will see that your sugar or salt is being dissolved in the water. So why this is happening? If you say that if it assume that our matter is continuous, okay, if our matter is continuous, so it will not have any spaces in between because it is continuous. Then if we are going to add, suppose we are taking, okay, suppose you are taking glass of water, okay, and you put salt or sugar in it. If your matter will be continuous, then what is going to happen? The salt and sugar will not dissolve and it will be present as it is on the top of water, okay. But as we are performing this activity at our home, we are seeing that our salt and sugar is being dissolved in the water. So we can say that from this activity we can say that our matter is formed of tiny particles, okay, which also have spaces in between, because water is a matter and it is constituent particles of water is tiny particles which have spaces in between. Suppose this is one particle, this is other particle, and it is having this space in between. So in that space what is happening? Your salt and sugar molecules are getting inside these spaces between the water molecules, okay. Let me change the color of my pen. Okay, so suppose these red ones are your water molecules and your matter is made up of tiny particles. Now when we dissolved our salt molecules, they just get in between the spaces of the water molecules, okay. So by performing this simple activity at our home, we get to a conclusion that our matters are made up of tiny small particles. Okay, so our next property is the particles which make up the matter are atoms or molecules. The particles of matter are very small, even beyond our imagination. The particles from which our matter is being formed are very small particles, okay. For this we need to perform another activity or experiment. In this experiment what we have done, we have taken 100 ml of water, okay, and we are dissolving only a single crystal of potassium permanganate. The potassium permanganate formula is KMnO4. Okay, so now you can say, ma'am, how we are going to do this activity? We don't have potassium permanganate in our kitchen or in our home. So what you can do, instead of using potassium permanganate, you can just use a very tiny amount of some ink which is present at your home. It may be of any color, red, blue, black, that doesn't matter, but you can take you have to take only very small little amount of that ink and dissolve it in 100 ml of water. Okay, so when we dissolve potassium permanganate, only a single crystal of potassium permanganate in the water, what we see, a solution of purple color is being formed. The color of potassium permanganate solution is purple, or you can say violet color. Okay, so dark purple solution is being formed. Okay, then what we does, we take just 10 ml of this solution and again dissolved it in 90 ml of water to make 100 ml of solution. Then again we do the same thing, and again we are performing the same dilution process in which we are diluting our concentrated solution of potassium permanganate. So what we observe through this, that the particles of potassium permanganates are so small, so tiny, that even after doing the dilution 10 times, 20 times, the color is being faded away. That is obvious, because you are diluting, you are increasing the amount of water. So the color is going to fade away. But even small crystal, we have only taken one small crystal of potassium permanganate. So even that small crystal is going to give you so many small tiny particles which are present even after doing so many dilutions. Okay, so after doing so many dilutions, several times we are performing dilution, what we are observing, that the intensity of the color is changing, but still some color is present. So some amount of potassium permanganate are still present after doing several dilutions. So from this activity we can conclude that the particles of matter are very small and tiny particles. Okay, so these were the physical nature of the matter. Now let's discuss some characteristics of particles of matter. So first one is, particles of matter have space between them. Okay, so from this we have already seen, when we are taking a glass of water and we are dissolving salt, or you may take sugar in it, what is going to happen when we dissolve it? After some time we obtain the same clear solution. Okay, here we have clear water solution. So after some time, when they get dissolved, you are going to have the same clear solution. So from this you can say that where the particles of salt and sugar are going, they are going in the spaces between the particles of water. Okay, so this is our first characteristics of particle of matter, which is particles of matter have space between them. Second, we are going to discuss particles of matter are continuously moving. Okay, for this you need to do one thing. Just take in a beaker, take some water, H2O, and just drop some ink inside the beaker. Okay, you have dropped it over the water. Okay, so after some time you will see, suppose our ink is red ink, after some time you will see that the whole solution has turned red in color. Okay, your water is changing its color. Initially it was blue, after some time it turns red. So why this is happening? If suppose we are studying this characteristic, particles of matter are continuously moving. Okay, if you think that just pay attention. If you think that the particles are still, particles of matter are still, they are not going to move, then what will happen in the activity, when you put ink over the water, then that ink will going to stay as it is on the surface of water. It is not going to dissolve in the water. Okay, because our particles are continuously moving, that is why when we put a drop of ink over water, what is going to happen? The particles of ink which are continuously moving, they will get dissolved throughout the water and makes our solution, whole solution, red in color. Okay, so this is our second characteristic, that particles of matter are continuously moving. Okay, now the third one is particles of matter attract each other. Particles of matter attract each other. Suppose particles of matter do not have any force of attraction in between. Okay, if I have this pen I am applying force, but this pen is not going to break. Why this is happening? Because the particles of this pen are having some kind of force of attraction in between, which are attracting each other. Okay, if they do not have any kind of force of attraction, then for me breaking this pen would be very much easier, but that is not going to happen because particles of matter attract each other. Okay, now what we are going to discuss, that our matter exists in different states. So we are going to discuss about different states of matter. So we have basic 3 states of matter, which is gaseous state, liquid state and solid state. Okay, let's discuss them one by one. So first one is solid state. Now what is solids? Solids have definite shape, distinct boundaries and fixed volumes. Suppose I am saying this board is a solid. So this board is having a definite shape. Yes, it is a rectangular board. So this is having a definite shape and distinct boundaries. Okay, these are the boundaries of my board. So the boundaries are separating your matter from the surroundings. Okay, so your solid is going to have definite shape, distinct boundaries and fixed volume. This volume is occupied by this board, so this is a solid. Solid have definite shape, distinct boundaries and fixed volumes. Solids have high densities. How you define density? Density of any material is given by mass of the matter divided by volume occupied by it. So solids have high densities. Then we have, they have negligible compressibilities. Why they have negligible compressibility? Because we have already said, because in solid state particles are present, particles are joined by strong forces of attraction. Suppose this is a solid. So what will happen? All the particles will be very closed to each other because forces of attraction are strong. Okay, so you can see if your particles are just present adjacent to one another, okay, so there is no space between these particles. So because the spaces are not there, so when we compress these solids, they are not going to be compressed. Okay, they have negligible compressibility because there is no spaces in between the particles of solids. Then solid may break when subjected to force, okay, and difficult to change their shape. So solids are rigid. Okay, this is the new term, which is rigid. Okay, we are going to discuss this term first. Why we are saying solids are rigid? Because it is very difficult to change the shape of solids. If this pen is a solid, no matter how much force you are going to exert, this is not going to change its shape. But if you exert large amount of force, it is only going to break. Okay, so this kind of bodies are called rigid body, which do not change their shapes. But if you exert, if they are subjected to force, they will break. Okay, so these are rigid. Solids are rigid. Now let's come to second one, our liquid state. Liquids have no fixed shape but have fixed volume. What does this mean? If suppose your water which you drink is a liquid, it is present in liquid state. Okay, so suppose you take water in a bottle, in a water bottle, suppose. Okay, so when you pour your water inside your water bottle, you see that it is going to take the shape of bottle. Okay, if you pour it into a glass, then your water is going to take the shape of glass. So that means liquids do not have a fixed shape. They only takes the shape of the container in which they are contained. Okay, but another thing is that they have fixed volume. The volume, the amount of liquid which you are pouring inside, suppose you are first you pour water in your water bottle and then pour it to the glass of water, but the volume which is taken by the liquid is going to be same in both the cases. So liquids don't have fixed shape but they have fixed volumes. Okay, then second is they can flow and change the shape, so they are called fluids. Another term we need to discuss is fluids. What does fluids mean? So those substances which have a tendency to flow are known as fluids. Like liquids are fluids. Another example which we are going to discuss is gases. Gases are also fluids because they also have the tendency to flow. Okay, so these liquids are also known as fluids. Liquids cannot be compressed much. This term means that they have small amount of compressibilities. Okay, why? Because as we have seen in our solid states that they do not have spaces in between, but in liquid state molecules have little amount of spaces in between. Okay, so suppose in this you can see these small spaces are present in between the particles of liquid, so they can be compressed. Liquids can be compressed but not much. Okay, then we have liquids have moderate to high densities. Okay, as we have seen for solids have high densities but liquids have moderate to high densities. They have a range of densities. Solid, liquid and gases can be diffused into liquids. Here another term we are going to discuss is diffusion. Okay, so in this you can see diffusion is a property or a tendency of intermixing of different matters. Suppose your liquid is being mixed with the gases. So what will happen? Then different particles. Suppose this is your one liquid. Okay, let's take it A. And this is another one. Suppose it is B. When you are going to mix them, what will happen? The particles of A and the particles of B are going to intermix with each other. Why this intermixing is happening? Due to the process of diffusion of particles. Okay. Now let's discuss our third state of matter, which is gaseous states. Gaseous state, gases do not have fixed shape and volume. Gases are highly compressible. They have low density and can flow easily. Okay, so first we have gases do not have fixed volume and shape. Okay, the air which is present around us and the oxygen which we breathe in, these are the example of gases. So if you see the air which is present in our room can occupy any space, and it doesn't have any fixed shape and neither it has a fixed volume. Okay, as you increase this space in your surroundings, the air or the gases which are being involved will started increasing their volume. So the shape and the volume of gases are not fixed. Then second one is gases are highly compressible. Why? Because the particles of gases in gaseous state, particles are present at very far away from each other, so they can be easily compressed. Okay, because particles have this much large spaces in between, so they can be easily compressed. Gases are highly compressible. Gases have low densities. Then gases can flow easily. Why gases can flow easily? Because they are fluids, they have tendency to flow. Okay, then a new state of matter, fourth state of matter, was discovered by Erwin Langmuir in 1920. That state is known as plasma. Plasma is a superheated state. Plasma is a mixture of free electrons and ions. Basically, the plasma is similar to your gaseous state, but at a very high temperature plasma is being formed at very high temperature, and what is happening is that the gases molecules are going to be present in ionized state. They are going to ionize. What we mean by ionization? That your molecules are giving away electrons. Okay, plasma occurs naturally in the stars, the sun and other gases glows because of the presence of plasma. Plasma state is generally present naturally in the stars and sun because they are at very high temperature. Plasma can also be made on Earth by passing electricity through the gases at low pressure taken in a discharge tube. If we take gases in discharge tubes and pass high amount of electricity through them, so we can ionize our gases. In this way, we can also form plasma on the Earth. Okay, you can see over here in the plasma state, your ionization is basically loss of electrons for the formation of ions, protons which are positively charged, electrons which are negatively charged are given away. So this kind of state in which your ionization of gases is taking place is known as plasma. Okay, so till now we have discussed what is matter and different states of matter, physical properties of matter and different characteristics of matter. So this is it for today's lecture. In our next video, we are going to discuss how we are going to change these state into one another. Okay, we are going to see the interconversion of one state into other state. So this is it for today's video. Thank you very much. And don't forget to like, share and subscribe to our channel. And also if you have any kind of queries, you can comment below in the comment section. And don't forget to press the notification bell for getting all the notifications of our videos.